Hey guys, I don't know if you can hear me. Looks like everybody's audio is kind of loading. How you guys doing this morning? Let's see, who do we have? Mark Richardson, how are you, my friend?
I'm good. Glad to be here. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Right on. I'm fired up.
All right, good to have you, man. Good to have you. How long you been with the program? Either with are you with Justin or with Claude or both?
Claude.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I worked with Claude years ago for about 4 or 5 years, and then thought I was smarter than I really was, and got away from doing things, and now I'm back. Now I'm back on the juice.
Yeah. Are you in the real estate game?
Yeah, real estate
Okay.
investor.
What's your specialty? What kind of
We
lead?
do mostly wholesales and wholesale deals and lease options.
Oh, got it. Okay, perfect.
That's the main.
Hey, Brian. Look, Myra is here.
Yeah, you doing?
How you doing, Ryan? Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, thank you.
Robert Felder, how are you, my friend?
Good morning.
You're in your storage room?
No, thanks. It's my office. We're slowly packing up, planning to move soon.
Oh, you moving?
Oh, eventually, yeah. We're
Oh.
trying to get this, real estate moving enough so I can get my wife out of work and we can move. We're probably going to move potentially back to Redding, California.
Oh, okay. Very good. Very good.
Yep.
Is that where you're from originally, Reading?
Originally from Maryland,
Oh, wow.
but we were living in Hawaii for 15 years, went to ministry school in Redding, and then God brought us out to this tiny little place called Alturas.
I've heard about tourists. Never been, but I have heard of it.
Really? In California?
Yeah. Yeah. Never been, though.
Yeah.
Looks like we're getting quite a cool little crowd, you guys. I'm excited about today.
Hey Victor, how you doing?
Hey, what's up, Naomi?
Hey, what's up?
All right, all right. You rolling? You in your car headed somewhere?
Yeah, I'm just leaving from downtown. I had a little meeting and I pulled over because I'm like, it's 12 o'clock.
Well, appreciate having you on all the time. You're always welcome, and you're a great contributor. So it's always great to see you.
Yeah, I wouldn't miss it for the world. I get so much out of it. Yeah.
All right, good.
This is my
Glad to
workout
hear.
since the gym's not a workout anymore.
Yeah, yeah. Looks like Myra, who I always torment. She's getting her game time. Oh, looks like we got her mic cleared up. Look like she's there. Hi, Myra.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? It's great to see you. Glad you could make it.
I know I've missed a couple of them because I was busy with work, but I'm glad to make this one.
Right on, right on. Good to have you. Good to have you. Harold Humphrey, welcome, my friend.
Okay. Glad to be here.
Yeah, you good. I got you loud and clear now.
Yes, sir.
All right. John Moore. John, that's a great picture of you and your baby, man. That is such an awesome shot. Well,
Thanks. I'd hop on, but I'm at the library right now on the computer, so I'm trying to.
so you're gonna just be listening in?
Yeah, for now.
Got it. Rick, what's up, buddy? I see you in the house, man. Great to have you, bud.
Hey, how you doing, man? I'm out and about, so I'll keep it quiet.
Wow, well, thanks for joining us anyway, man. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. All right, you guys. So as you know, this is our Wednesday role play training, and you guys all know what it's based on. All of you either participate with Claude Diamond, who teaches the guts training, and has a particular methodology that we use in order to move people to a place where we can determine if they want to do business, if they're able to do business, what their criteria is for doing business, and close them. And our whole goal in this process is to do it especially the qualifying part, as quickly as possible. Let me share my screen real quick. Can you guys see that?
Yep.
Okay, great. Okay, so here is kind of, the layout that we use. And if you guys want a copy of this, I can get it to you.
I do.
But basically, it works on a formula. The main thing that we want to do when we operate with somebody on the phone is we want to, hopefully by the time we get off the phone, we want them to be an 8, 9, or 10 in the motivation scale. When we get on the phone with them, they could be anywhere. We need to determine within about 3 minutes or so whether or not we're going to be able to get them past that midpoint. Most people will start someplace in here being 4, 5, or 6. And then with the questions that we ask and the motivations that we uncover, we hope to move them someplace closer to a 8, 9, or 10, where we can go ahead and send over our agreements and have them sign them and be committed to the point at which they don't ghost us at the end of the transaction and we end up not being able to find them. They go into witness protection. So 3 rules that we operate by: always set the agenda, let them know. And so the agenda sort of goes like this. This is the roadmap. Hi, Mr. Seller. My name is Victor. You can open however you want. We have some sort of pattern interrupts that we use sometimes in order to sort of get them off their spot. But you're going to set the roadmap. And Mr. Seller, my name is Victor. I see you have a property for sale at such and such. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions? Get permission to ask questions. Also, you have permission to ask me as many questions as you need. And if we find that we're not a match, we'll part as friends. You can feel free to fire me. How does that sound? Great. Okay, so now we've kind of let them know that we're serious. 2, we're professional. 3, that they know what direction that we're going to take this in. And 4 is that we both agree that if it's not something we want, we're going to move on and we're going to do it quickly. Let's not waste any of each other's time. And, people appreciate the respect that you show for their time in those situations. Then we go to rule number 2. You've got 3 minutes to qualify or disqualify this person. We do that with these qualifying questions right here. Okay, why are you trying to sell? Now, also, I want to make a point here that these don't have to go in any particular order. This is just the information you're trying to gather, but you'll find that within the conversation, you'll gather them in different ways, but you want to make sure that you get all of this information. Why are they selling, right? What is the money situation? How much does the property cost? How much do they owe on the property? What are they trying to get as far as upfront money? What is it going to take on a monthly basis in order to make sure that they cover all of their needs, et cetera, et cetera. The money thing has to be covered, and it's usually the longest part of the conversation because it's really the thing that locks everything into the type of deal that you're going to try to set them up for. Is it going to be a wholesale deal because there's so much work to be done that there's a lot of equity in the property? Give me 1 second, guys. That there's a lot of equity in the property, so we can do a wholesale deal. Give me 1 second real quick. I need to let everybody in. Okay. All right. Welcome, everyone. Then we also want to then move into the timing. How soon do you need to do this? Obviously, one of the tenets in the GUTS system is we're trying to make money, and we're trying to make money today, right? So we're not really interested if you're 3 months down the line, you're 4 months down the line, you're going to be someplace on this motivation scale below a 5. Now, if your motivation is strong, you'll probably go into a follow-up process where we'll get back to you over a period of time, put them in a campaign of some sort and follow up with them later, but you're not going to waste a bunch of time on them because it just doesn't fit within the qualifications that you're looking for. Then you want to make sure that you get a solid commitment from them. Like, they need to be committed. They need to, be completely enrolled in what it is that you guys have come up with together in terms of solving their problem and moving them to the next stage of their life, or whatever it is that they're trying to accomplish by selling their property, right? And then rule number 3, you must fire an unqualified prospect, right? If they don't qualify, if you can't move them past this 5, 6, 7 within a period of time, get off the phone and go on to the next person. They're simply not motivated enough. They're not qualified enough. Now, I do want to say something about that. Sometimes they might not be at that level because we may have not found the right questions, and we may not have connected with them in such a way that we're starting to paint a picture that both increases the pain that they feel in terms of, what this problem is causing them. And 2, that we haven't painted a picture of what it's going to look like once this problem is solved. Those are 2 important aspects of this that aren't necessarily, visible in the outline, right? We have got to get in there and create some relationship, find out why this person, really wants to, do what it is that they say they want to do as far as this property is concerned. Okay. And that part is part of the recap. Oh, my point being is that if they don't fit, fire them or fire yourself as quickly as you possibly can and on to the next one. A big reason for that is because you will find yourself just sucked dry by the energy, by the lack of energy that comes from talking to a whole bunch of unqualified prospects for a period of time. One day it's hard, the next day it's harder, and by the third day you're trying to pick up a 1,000-pound cactus. So you can't afford to let them suck you dry in terms of that right there. Now, and we'll speak a little bit more to going back to a conversation that I had with Raed yesterday, and we were talking about some things that might actually affect that in a way that we may have not thought of before, or that you may be actually doing the same thing right now and wondering why some things aren't happening. Number 3 part, we're going into the recap. We're going to recap everything that the person and I agreed on. Going to make sure that we solved or satisfied their need, solved their problem, or satisfied their need or greed. We're going to ask them some questions, and we're going to close them with, do you have any more questions? That's one thing you want to remember. Do you have any more questions? Because you want them to be solid, and then you want to confirm, change, and close. Confirm everything that you said and agreed on, change anything that needs to be changed in the agreement, close for the either closing appointment, or in some cases, some of you, you send over your stuff right now and it's already in the system, and you can do it virtually, and you can actually have your documents signed right there on the phone. That's something that I've implemented because I find that the getting back to you later thing, if you can avoid it, you're going to close more deals. So back to the little, I'm gonna leave this up for right now, and you guys can kind of take a look at it right there. I did want to say something about your leads and how you're getting them. So Raed and I had a conversation yesterday, and he told me what kind of leads he was getting, and that they were kind of, not really motivated, not really inspired or whatever. And then we talked about his text message that he was sending out. And the text message that he was sending out, I don't remember the wording, but what we determined is that some wording just kind of, throws people off, right? Like if you start throwing in a bunch of jargon about lease options or, rent to owns and stuff like that, what I have found is that people start to determine certain things in their mind based on whatever information or knowledge they believe they have about those processes. And they don't have a clear understanding. Heck, some of us don't have a clear understanding, and we train on that stuff, right? So I find that you might not want to go with the, lease option, rent to own, like I don't do that on a first text. And the reason I don't is because, again, I don't want to create conversations in their heads that I now have to manage. So what I have found has worked for me and for some of the people that I work with is that we basically ask for flexibility. Are you flexible at all in your price, or have you considered terms? Now, when we get on the phone, I can explain. When I say explain, I don't really mean explain, but I can let them know what that means. But before that, I don't want them overthinking this process. They may reply to me on a particular text, and then I can expand on it based on, what level of knowledge and skill that I think they might be working with. Because if they're not on a particular level, I'm going to dumb it down, based on their needs and their desires. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing screen for a second. All right. So does anybody have any questions? I know I kind of rambled on right there for a little while. Do you guys have any questions or anything that you've noticed in your calling or your lead generation that, just might speak to, or you might want to clear up for yourself?
I got one thing. I was just wondering if this sounds kind of like how you were just talking about the texting or whatever.
Yeah.
If this sounds, one of the texts I says, I mean, me and my fiance do it together. So we say, me and my fiance saw your house online.
Okay.
We ask if their price is negotiable or if they'd be open to a short-term rent to own. Is that kind of still falling outside of what you're saying?
If they're open to what?
Short-term rent to own.
And
then we say, either way, let me know. Thanks.
Is that your reply text, or is that your original text?
My original text, it says, hey, this is so-and-so, my fiance and I saw your house online, and we were wondering if your price is negotiable or if you're open to a short-term rent to own. Either way, let me know. Thanks.
Okay. What have your results look like in terms of the kind of people who are responding and what they're responding to you with?
Well, we're getting like a 70 to 90% response, sometimes 50 or 30, depending on where, but I mean, generally like a 50 to 60, 70% response. And they're just saying like, thanks for the response, but we're not interested. Price is negotiable, but we're not interested in rent to own. There's some flexibility, but we're not interested in rent to own, stuff like that.
Okay. And when you talk to these people, when you actually talk to them and whatnot, what are your results looking like in that conversation once you get them on the phone?
Well, that's why I'm kind of jumping on the role play today, because I'm finding myself, it kind of stuck out to me as soon as you started the stream this morning, and you said, some of us are having trouble continuing the conversation. I'm having trouble myself getting, I'm that person that says, yeah, I'll get back to you. Let me look at some numbers and stuff, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm having trouble transitioning from the pre-qualification to the closing and like kind of running numbers and doing it all at once. So that's kind of why I'm here.
Got it. Okay, so that might actually be less of a conversation problem, and you might, and I had the same problem in the beginning too. Like I was stopped because I wasn't prepared. Like I would jump in, and it would be almost like I would jump in the water, or and then realize that I didn't have floaties on. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And I can't swim.
Right. I'm great at building rapport. I'm great at carrying a conversation. It's just when we get to the numbers, I'm like, yeah, let me call you back. And then I find myself, and I got 3 kids. So after that, who knows how my day's going to go.
Exactly. So. Yeah. Because they'll take over your activity. Right. And they're always shaking her head. She knows. So what I did is I actually created a folder on my desk. And in that folder, I have all of the things that I need in order to walk through a conversation. I have my lease option memo, right? I have my calculator tab that I can open my calculator real quick and figure out what 70% is, if I need to do a quick cash offer with them. I have all of my little things that I need, including this little script outline and everything, because I use it all the time so that I don't drop stuff out, because there's sometimes you get a tendency, if you do it enough, you start getting overconfident.
Right.
And as soon as you do, your numbers drop.
Right.
As soon as you think you got it figured out, your numbers just plummet. So I try to keep it, consistent by staying on track with that form. But yeah, so I may, if I'm you, and this is what I was having a conversation again with Raed, I would suggest you do 2 or 3 different texts going out. And you're probably, all of them are going to get you, the response rate on text messages tends to be pretty high anyway. Like you'll get 50 to 70% on most cases. So when it comes to that, that's not really a measure in my opinion, right? Like,
okay, it's more or less like the interest, right?
Right. They're interested. They're like, they're trying to sell their house. So they're going to respond anyway, right? And they're going to just kind of see what you're talking about. And it's safe and they're behind the screen. And it's like, it doesn't cost them anything to respond.
Right.
Right. So you're going to get that kind of response to begin with, right? And so if you can move them to a conversation as quickly as possible, I find that that's much easier because you remove the veil.
Okay, so you're just saying.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, so I avoid having anything to do with what we're going to do. I normally would go towards something like, I saw your house for sale. Are you at all flexible on your price or terms?
Gotcha.
End of conversation, right? So they'll get back to me and they'll, what do you mean terms? And then well, before I answer what I mean by terms, let me, do you mind if we have a little short conversation and see if there's some way that I can put something together that actually solves your problem for you? Well, I don't have a problem, I'm just trying to sell it. How much time do you have to sell it? It sounds like you're not in any kind of a rush. Oh, no, I'm not. I can hold on to it. Well, thank you. I appreciate talking to you. You have yourself a good day. Conversation over. They have no motivation. I'm not really trying to move them to motivation. But then I'll get the person on the phone is like, I've been trying to move this thing and, it's just people aren't, it just doesn't seem to be selling. And now I can have a conversation. Well, why don't you think it's selling? I mean, it looks like a beautiful home, right? Stroke their ego. It looks like a beautiful home. It baffles me that you haven't been able to sell it yet. What do you think? What do you think is holding it up? Right? So now I'm building rapport. I'm getting in conversation. They starting to get the sense that I give a damn, right? They're starting to say, well, maybe this is somebody who actually can help me, who actually wants to help me. And now we start to move towards, a relationship.
Right.
Right. Something interesting, speaking of that, and the reason why I'm stressing that is because I had a situation this morning. I woke up this morning. Well, actually, my phone woke me up this morning, which I was like, I always get mad because I always forget to turn off Do Not Disturb, right? And then I'm running East Coast leads. Oh my God! So they started like ringing like at 5 a.m. and I just went to bed at 2 a.m. right? But anyway, so I wake up this morning, and I had spoken to a lady yesterday. We had gotten into a relationship. She wanted to go take a look at a house that I have listed for sale. And she loved the house and everything, but we just couldn't make the numbers work. The monthly payment just absolutely could not work for her, right? So, I something just came to my mind, and I thought to myself, are you out there looking for properties? She is, yes. She said, yes. She says, I have a couple of other properties that, I'd like to buy, and I'm like, really, where are they? So this morning she sends me like 5 properties with the information so that I can call the sellers. I don't know if anything's going to come out of it, but it's literally like free leads, right? Like I did nothing. I didn't even send out a text message or anything like that. So that's what's possible when you have the conversation, right? When you just get in relationship. Give me 1 second. Sorry, guys. I need to let Mike in. When you get in conversation. So I think your main goal is to get into a conversation with somebody so that they know that you care, and then you can start to massage, through some of their particulars. So we don't want to just shut them out in the initial conversation, and we don't want to get, yeah, you get 70%, you know, response rate. Yeah, you know, what does that really mean? Don't know, right? It's like, okay, so now I'm down 30% from my original leads, but I still don't know how qualified these people are, how much they really want to, you know, sell their property, right? So it's a, you know, it's false hope in my opinion. So if I'm you guys, I'm probably trying to do, going back to my initial premise, sorry, I'm rambling, but I would go with probably 2 or 3 different text messages and test them out, right? And you're going to start to see, when I say test them out, the test that you're looking for is what kind of person is responding in terms of where they are on the motivation scale, right? You might want to stay with the one you have mentioning lease options or rent to own or whatever. I personally have gone away from that one because I find that it pre-filters, you know, kind of too much, right? So then maybe you could try something like, you know, do you have any flexibility at all in your price or in your terms? And they'll know if they have any flexibility at all. They'll respond back with something like, you know, what do you mean terms? And then you could just text that back. You haven't wasted any time right now. So the idea being that you want to shrink this down all the way to somebody who wants to have an actual conversation with you. And you can do all that through the text messaging, right? So now we're going to get to the conversation part, and let's, you know, do some role play and, you know, kind of work through some scenarios and use some of the methodology and stuff that Claude teaches us, and also Justin promotes as part of his training. So,
Last question, Victor.
go, Ryan?
Yeah. So do you actually send the text and just kind of reply as soon as they text you back? Because I don't reply to them till like 2-3 days later sometimes.
Great point, Ryan. I find that responses go stale. If you don't respond to them right away, 2 things that happen. One is there's a lot of stuff that could jump in the middle, including other investors calling them or whatever, right? But what I found is the most negative part of not responding right away is the perception that they start to develop about you and your professionalism or lack thereof, right? Because oftentimes when I call back somebody after a number of days, like I've let it kind of get stale, I can tell in their voice that they don't view it the same exact way as the person who I got back to immediately. Because the person I got back to immediately, he thinks, okay, this guy's on top of his game. This guy is a professional. This guy is trying to, you know, buy houses. This guy has a system in place. This guy has a, you know, he's in this game for real. And it's just a perception, but I think it kind of, I've noticed that it's affected my results. When I don't get on them right away, I realize now that when I do call them, you know, I am strictly trying to build relationship, and then I kind of let them know why I didn't call them before. And when and usually my conversation about why I haven't called them already is because we have used up our money. The response to the text campaign that we did at that time was so overwhelming that, you know, basically we bought all the properties we needed to buy. I apologize for not getting back to you, but you know, we have some new finance. We're back in the game. You know, let's see if we can find something that works for both of us. Right?
That's good. That's good. I was actually had some pretty stale leads, and I was holding off a little even more because I'm like, how am I gonna warm this up? And that's awesome. So we had an overwhelming response, and
we literally ran out of money because you know, we had no idea that people were, you know, that interested in selling. So, we literally ran out, and I just wanted to get back to you, apologize for not getting back to you sooner. Is the house still for sale?
Yeah,
And
thank you.
do you find that works pretty good? Because I was about to go through my automated REI because I got like 20 campaigns that I went through, and I was just going to go back through and kind of re-hit everybody.
Yeah.
Just because I had so many going at once, you know what I mean? I'm like, I'm just going to run back through because, like I said, I've had trouble moving to the closing. I got overwhelmed, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I got so many people to call now that it's like, okay, so that works though. That helps. If I sit down and start calling them all back, I can just be like, yeah, we ran out of money, man, and we just kind of stopped business for a little while. So.
Yeah. We were overwhelmed with the response to, the campaign that we put out. Like, we had no idea it was going to do this. But we're good now. And, if there's a way that I can help you, do you mind, I ask you a few questions, you ask me a few questions. Yeah, Robert?
Yeah. So if I can throw in 2 cents, I go through Joe McCall's program, and he gives a 3-text recommendation.
Okay.
And his is something to the fact of like, hey, I saw your house on Zillow at such and such street. Is it still available?
Yep.
You wait for a result, and then you say, are you the owner? They say yes or no. And then you say, you wouldn't consider leasing for a year or two, and then I buy it, would you?
Right.
And then you wait for their response. And regardless of whether they say yes or no, I still contact them, just because they may not quite understand that question, but they know, hopefully they kind of understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Yeah, I do Joe McCall too. In fact, he's the first trainer that got me into the lease option game. So I like a lot of his stuff. I like that methodology in terms of getting back to people and sort of massaging them back into, pliability for you, right? All right, you guys,
Yeah.
let's do some role play. Looks like we got enough people in the house. Anybody want to? I'm gonna kind of put you on the spot, Ryan. How about me and you?
Okay.
All right. So, do you want me to be okay? So the reason why I called on Ryan is because he does a process where he kind of calls and gets a bunch of information, sorts of qualifies them, and we've kind of been working on, him qualifying them. And there's certain things that we inject in there. One is that he's only gathering some information, and 2, that he is not the ultimate decision maker, right? So he can always just say, look, I'm going to turn this over to, my partners. We're going to review it or whatever. The point of it was being that I don't want you guys to be like sitting there and thinking that you have to be the authority, end all, be all of this, especially when you're new, right? Because you don't have the answers, and then what you find is that you'll just start pulling away and not replying and not following up and doing those things because you think that you don't know enough, or all the stuff that goes in our heads as far as that goes. So one of the things we do is position you so that, okay, I'm not the ultimate authority. I need to just get some information from you so that we can know, whether or not we can move forward, whether we can provide value, kind of thing, right? Okay, so Ryan, are you going to be? Oh, you know what? Let me see if I can find your call sheet. No, I don't want to look for it. I know what you're looking for. So do you want to be the homeowner? I just call you and I'm kind of doing your role where I'm gathering information.
Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So ring.
Hello.
Hi. I'm not sure if I have the right number. Is this Ryan?
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, Ryan. My secretary put this on my desk, and I'm not really sure what it's for. I'm in the real estate business. Are you selling a property or something?
Yeah, I have a house listed on Zillow, actually.
Oh, perfect. That's exactly what it was about. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. You know, we've been swamped over here, so wasn't sure exactly. Well, great. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions? You ask me a few questions. You know, let's determine if we have something here. If not, feel free to fire me. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead.
Okay. Great. Great. Let me ask you. Oh, you know what? Off role play. I'm gonna do something. Hold on one second. Okay. So there is the role, the sheet that we go from, so you guys can kind of grade whether or not, you know, I go through all of these things and where we are on the motivation level at the end of the conversation, right? Okay, so I've kind of set a roadmap already. I've asked permission to get questions, and you know, I've given him permission to fire me. So we've already established that part right here. Okay, you say the property is still for sale, Ryan. I'm looking on Zillow. It says that it's been for sale for 167 days. Is that right?
Yes.
Oh wow. Okay. I'm looking at the property right now. I can't even imagine why it would, you know, take that long to sell. It looks beautiful. Why don't you just keep it?
Well, we're gonna move down to another place. So I have to sell this one before I move, actually.
Oh, okay. You need the monies from this one to be able to get into the other one. Is that what's happening?
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna need a certain amount of money because I gotta do some kind of down payment on the next one. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, since we're already at the money now, what do you think you're going to need in order to make that happen for yourself,
Uh,
and money wise?
it's gonna be a good chunk of money, probably close to 30 grand, maybe.
30 grand. Hmm. Okay. Okay. All right. But let me just ask you before I even go there. Let me just ask you a couple more questions about this. Um, I'm gonna try to figure out if there's 30 grand in this for us, okay? And I say us, I mean you.
Okay.
All right. So how much is the property worth?
Uh, I think it's close to 170, 175.
170 to 175. And that's because of an appraisal that you paid for?
No, I have a friend agent that he kind of gave me his numbers.
Oh, okay. So you got it from an agent friend.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't do any appraisal.
Okay. So do you know some properties in your area that are kind of like yours or
Uh,
anything like that? Or
he pointed out a couple of close by. He said that's what the square footage goes for. So this is why I kind of priced it over the square footage what he gave me.
oh, okay. But you haven't been able to look inside and see what kind of upgrades or what type of
No,
appliance or anything like that. You just
no,
kind of
not really.
kind of figured it on square footage.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I get that. I get that. Okay. So you think it's worth about that. Now this question, sometimes people aren't always, you know, real open to answering it, but do you mind telling me approximately how much you owe on it?
Um, I can tell you I owe less than half because I've been living in there since 2004, and I paid half of the loan already. So probably close to
So about 90,000?
70,
So some,
75 that I owe.
okay, 90K. And about how much is your complete payment every month? You know, your
Um,
principal, interest, tax, and insurance.
with the with the tax and insurance, it's about 1150.
About 1150. Okay. All right. Do you happen to know approximately what rents are going for in your area?
Yeah, now it's people easily get 1250 a month.
Oh,
For
okay.
house
Okay.
in town.
So if you were renting it for 1250, you could cover all of your expenses and even put a little bit of money in your pocket.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because my payment is
Okay.
1150.
Okay.
So
But obviously the problem with that is that you're looking at needing that money to make that move. Yeah.
yeah, I need to qualify for the loan for the next home. I'm gonna need um, that big down payment. And off the role play, this is what I get a lot from people
Okay.
that they
Yeah,
need
I
help.
figured that's why you were
It's
going here.
like,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So you need the large down payment. You owe about $90,000 on the house.
oh, 75.
I'm sorry, you said 75?
Yeah, oh, 75. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. You said about half of the 175. So let's go 75K. So that's good. That's good. Okay. All right. Now, how soon do you need to do this? Like, how soon do you need to be in the other property?
Um, the sooner the better, because I keep looking at other houses that has pool in there, and I usually get like one or two a month that I'd be interested in.
Okay.
Like I said, I need the money, so as soon as I can free myself from this house, I can live with my brother for a month till I kind of close on the next one, but I gotta use the money for down payment.
Okay. Okay. Now, I picked up something about pool. What's the interest and motivation there? I mean, why is a pool important to you?
Now it is because my sons, when they were younger, they had a pool. Now my grandkids, they like 1 and 3, and I have another one on the way. So I gotta definitely have pool for them.
Oh, okay. So it's the grandpa play. Yeah, you want to bring them over and spoil them and send them home.
Yeah.
I totally get that. That's awesome. Now you say that you're not really in a hurry to do this. So let me ask you, what kind of activity have you seen so far? I mean, it looks like you had it on there 167 days. Um, but I'm getting the sense that maybe maybe this is over for me and you. And the reason I say that is because, well, you've had it for sale for a while, but yet you're still telling me that you have, more time and, more patience to do this. So, I'll be honest with you. I think, you know, I'm gonna ask you a couple more questions, but I really don't know right now if this is something that actually fits into my model. But let me ask you this. If I was to offer you a particular amount and I would show up at your front door right now with a briefcase full of money, and this would be over for you. You'd be at your new place. You will be spoiling those grandkids. You'll hear them laughing in the background. They're, that young spirit. They're just having fun. They're putting you in that place that grandparents love to be at emotionally. If I brought over a briefcase full of money, how much would you? What would be your number at that point? What would be your number if I showed up today with a briefcase full of money?
I mean, I like to sell the house, but like I said, that I have to have at least 25 grands to put like down payment money toward the next house where I can qualify for the loan on the next house.
Got it. Okay. So basically you're saying if I could pay off your existing financing and put $30,000 in your pocket, that we could possibly have a deal here?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. I need to get the house sold, but my biggest thing is to have the cash now.
Okay. All right. So if I showed up right now with, cash, you didn't have to pay any closing costs or anything. I showed up with 105,000. We would have ourselves a deal.
105.
Well, you owe 75 and you need 30.
Yeah, that's I never expected that. That's a very low offer. But
Yeah, I mean, it would basically put you exactly where you want to be in terms of getting to spoil those grandkids. And give me 1 second, please. To get to spoil those grandkids and get them, playing in the backyard and have your down payment money and things like that. But I don't want to force anything down your throat. But we're talking about 105,000. Is that something we can agree on today?
it's gonna be hard. See, I mean, if I agree to that, that's only gonna give me 30, and that's all, probably most of it's gonna go toward the down payments. I won't have anything. I
Okay.
just, yeah, I just don't wanna let my equity go like that, you know?
Okay. All right. Well, you know what, Ryan, it kind of sounds like, we don't have necessarily a match here, because my only other opportunity for you is to do something where, I take over all the payments and everything for 2 to 3 years. And at the end of that time, the advantage to you is you would have collected rents, you would have had your equity, paid down for you, you would have had a good credit rating improved. And at the end, you would get full asking price for the property. And I would pay all the closing costs. That doesn't sound like something you'd be interested in, is it?
Um, I think what you're saying, you wanna kind of lease it from me, then buy it in 2 years?
Yeah, we'll lock in everything,
Uh,
price and everything right now. And, you say the rents in that area are about 1250, so you'd be paying your mortgage and you'd have about $100 a month cash flow. But, I'll be honest, I don't know if this solves your problem, right? If you need that money to qualify for the other house, I
I
don't
think
think
it's gonna
I don't think
be,
we have a match here.
I think it's gonna be a challenge for me because, like I said, I have to use cash money to put down on the next loan. And if I keep this loan, I don't know if I'll be able to qualify for the next loan because that put me 2 payments, you know.
I get it. I get it. I get it. Okay. Well, Ryan, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I will go ahead and I'll send you over my offer, as close as I can get to it on a cash offer. You can hold on to it. You can kind of look and see, at what point it makes sense to you. And if it does at any point, feel free to contact me. All my information and everything will be on the email. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much,
Let,
brother.
let me make sure I have your email address right. It's raed2020@gmail.com. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
perfect. I'll follow up with you. Good luck to you and good luck with those grandkids. Okay.
Thanks, appreciate it.
All right. Off the role play. All right. So I stayed in there long enough with you to find out a little bit about your motivations. I found out about your needs. I made a couple of possible offers. And here's what I want you guys to realize in the fact why I fired myself from this transaction was because I really couldn't solve his problem, right? So that interaction took us about 5 minutes or so to realize that, you know what, I can't solve this guy's problem. If I can't solve your problem and I talk him into something, the likelihood that I'm going to get ghosted is high, because he's going to realize that, okay, this guy was smooth, this guy could talk, this guy, did whatever he did. But the truth of the matter is that I still have the same problem, right? So at that point, you let them go. Now, if you're finding yourself getting a lot of those, like you and I talked about, Ryan, a lot of that has to do, with that initial text. What did we say on that initial text? And you did share with me that you were putting in there, do you mind doing would you consider doing a lease option type thing, right? Okay, so one of the things that I find about using jargon, real estate jargon, is that most of the people don't have any idea what it is, even if they think they do, right? Because if you think about it, when we first got into these courses or, signed up with one of the gurus or started with Claude or whatever, we really didn't know what lease options was, right? And we train in this stuff. We are interested in this stuff, right? We're committed to this stuff. And we are still challenged some ways in how to put together a lease option, right? So we cannot put the lay public in a position where now they're trying to figure some stuff out and they already have enough other issues, right? So my thinking is, let's try to avoid that by taking that away from them and introducing it when it's appropriate and germane to the situation and the conversation. So we're going to, and the way that we're going to do that is we're actually going to look at doing 2 or 3 different text campaigns, omitting certain, prompts, certain words, certain, invitations, for lack of a better term, in those texts and see if we can then sort of gauge what kind of responses we're getting in terms of motivation level for these people and how quickly we can move them, into a buying position. Because right now it sounds like we're spinning our wheels quite a bit and getting the same sort of response. So if we're getting the same response, it's because they're responding to the same message in the same way. Does that make sense, Ryan?
Yeah. Can I ask a question?
Absolutely, Naomi.
Great. At some point in the role play, it sounded like you guys were coming close to an agreement with the 30 that he needed for the down payment, and then it sounded like he was like, "Oh, okay, so I can get 30." Well, but now that doesn't leave enough for me to, pocket with and go, do something. So I guess my question is, how you talked about having the calculator open, and we talked in the beginning about having to, yeah, exactly. So my question is, what at that point would it make sense to maybe see like what the number was, and if we could manage it based on I don't know, what we would look up some more comps, or how would you is there a way that could have been saved, I guess is what I'm wondering.
It possibly could, and I kind of sped up. Okay, so here would be the numbers that this is 122.5 is 70% of his 175 of the value. Okay, so
Okay.
you're right. There might have been a little bit of room for me to move off of that and go a little bit further, right? And I kind of sped it up just for the sake of the role play. But you're absolutely right, and that's a good call right there. So there is some room. I actually could have went. I wouldn't have went to 122 because at this point now, again, I probably could have went a lot deeper in that, but I didn't want to use up a bunch of time because I didn't even get to. In fact, let's go back, Naomi. That's a good point. Let's go back and see if there's something that we can do, Raed.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So Raed, you say that 30,000 is not, it's not going to cover some of your expenses. So, okay, if you were to think about it again, what is the number? What number are you looking to get?
I really don't have a number in head, except I know I need at least 25,000 down payment for the next house, and
Okay, so that's when you said the 30, you were thinking the 25 plus a little
yeah.
extra.
Then when I have that much equity, I kind of like to have more cash in the pocket. After I just don't want to walk out of the house with the down payment and that's it. I just need to see.
Okay,
cash.
so a little more. What does a little more cash look like?
Yeah.
So what does a little more cash look like for you? Okay, so we determined that 25 is going to the down payment.
Yeah, maybe if I can have an extra 25 grand on top of that, that give me about 4 months of expense.
About 25 grand on top of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we went from 105, which would have been the 75 for your loan plus the 30.
Yeah.
And now you want another 25. So now we're looking at 130,000 for the property, right?
Yeah, that's
If I wrote you a check today for 130,000, we would have a deal.
I will definitely consider it because like I said, I have it for 6 months, and I had offers, closer to that, but I didn't take them. So I mean, yeah, I might consider it at this time. Yes.
Okay. I just have one more question. I don't know if we actually have a deal here, but I do have one more question. What is the condition of your property right now? Does it need any major repairs, anything like that?
No. I mean, I've been keeping up with everything. Everything breaks, I'll fix. Except, the roof has been 16 years old. Like I bought this house 2004, so it's been.
So the roof could probably
It's a good
need a
condition.
replacement pretty soon.
yeah, except the roof, that's the only thing that's 16. I replaced the AC unit already, a few years
Okay,
ago.
okay.
But
How's
the
the
roof is
plumbing and the electrical and stuff? Everything
no, no, there's
pretty.
no issue. Everything's fine.
Okay, got it, got it. So if I
Even the
was to
minor
walk in,
issues,
if I was to walk into your house right now, how much do you think I would need to spend to bring it up to 2020 standards? And
um,
you know what I mean, you've seen all the shows, you know what people are looking for these days in terms of
oh, you mean like
finishes and, you know,
updating the
paint
kitchen?
and flooring and things like that.
Um, I can't give you a number, but I mean, the kitchen is I have nice cabinets. It just don't have the upgrade countertops. They have the wood countertops. I mean, it's not anything granite or anything all over the
Okay,
house.
okay.
Um, I
Do
mean,
you
I
have,
don't.
do you have like,
Nice.
matching stainless steel appliances or,
Yeah, yeah, I have
what your
all
appliances
silver.
are like?
Everything's all silver in there. Yes.
Oh, okay. So you do have some stainless steel up in there. I don't know why I guessed that. Maybe you're a stainless steel looking guy.
I'll say maybe most homes when you move out, you're probably gonna do a little cleanup, maybe paint stuff like that. Maybe.
Okay. Tell me about the floors.
Yeah, floors is all tile, so they
Yeah. No
actually
broken
I did them
tiles, nothing that
myself.
I need to worry about replacing and can't find a tile for.
Um, I have extra tiles, like about 100 piece left in the garage because I tiled it myself.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah,
You got skills like that.
had carpet in the bedroom, but I took them all out and did tiles all over the house. I did it
Uh-huh.
myself, so I have tiles all over, bathroom, kitchens, everything.
Okay. They're non-skid, right?
No, hey, I mean,
Because I'm imagining myself busting my behind right now. But good high quality tile. I mean, at least,
uh,
decent quality tile.
not top of the line, but they're good tiles. Just,
Okay, good. Okay,
I mean,
good.
they've been in there since 2007.
So, so you think if I was to go in there and spend, 5, 10,000, that I could bring this property up, including maybe putting some new countertops, I could bring this property up to,
Oh, yeah, you talk about countertops.
saleable
I'm not sure
2020
what the
standard.
countertops cost, but
Yeah,
I think that's the only thing that kind of needs to be upgraded.
got it, got it, got it. Okay. So when you talk to a realtor, I assume you talk to a realtor, right?
Yes.
And they came in, did you do a listing appointment?
Um, Actually, the only realtor I talked to was the friend realtor.
Okay, so they didn't do a listing appointment. They didn't tell you anything about what they would need to do to list it. You've never tried to go through them?
No, no, I
And
never.
why not? Why haven't you just listed it and let them do all the work?
Um, you know, I mean, I just hate to pay somebody 6%, take 10, 12 grands just for listing my house. If I can do it myself.
Okay, I get it. So I have a number, Ryan, and that number is the maximum number that I could pay for a property in this condition, assuming that I would have to do the work on it myself. And you know, I'm gonna just cut right to the chase. If I was to cut you a check right now for 115,000, is that something we can agree to today? That would give you your 30,000 plus an additional 10,000 to, sort yourself out in your other place.
Um, That's kind of low, really. I mean, I didn't expect it that low.
Yeah.
I have to talk to the wife, but yeah, that's
I
what.
mean, are we close?
Well, from when
Understand that we're going to close in less than 30 days. You'll be in position, and I know, despite you're telling me that there's no hurry. Those grandkids, they get older by the minute.
Yeah, like I said, there's a couple of houses that I keep an eye on, and if they're still for sale, and I can talk to their agent and make sure that I'll be able to close on them.
Well, I don't know if you can control how fast those will sell, right? I mean, they could be here today, gone tomorrow type scenario. So you probably want to put yourself in position, yeah?
Yeah, 115 is low, I can tell you, because they're only going to leave me with about 10, 15 at the max. But let me speak to the wife, like I said, and see what we can agree on that or not.
Okay, all right. Well, it kind of sounds like this might be over for us. And I'm okay with that. I gave you that permission, to begin with. Now, I could send you over an agreement, and you can take a look at it, and let me know if you're interested sometime down the road, and you can just kind of keep it in your pocket. But for what I'm looking to do, Ryan, I'm not sure if if we have a match, but I really was hoping to be able to help you out today.
Yeah, I'll consider it, like I said, but it's not a yes, because it's kind of lower than what I expected. But I'll definitely.
Okay, I appreciate that. Well, then I'm actually not even gonna bother. But you do have my information. You have my number. You know that I'm available. If in fact you want to make a deal, and I'll just look for your call.
Okay, that's fine. I appreciate your offer. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. All right, and role play. Okay, so Naomi, if you want to come back on and kind of.
Yeah.
Okay, so I knew what my number was, and I couldn't move him, past his preconceived idea of what he thought he should get for the property, right? At some point, I started feeling my clock ticking, and I was like, I know I don't want to be on the phone with this guy any longer because he doesn't have enough motivation for me to waste any more time. So I did, want to push it towards that. The maximum I could have paid for that property was 122. So I gave him the 115 offer to see if he would counter offer something within, but he never counter offered. He only said it's not enough. Right. So, his motivation level, if you guys wanted to, and you guys can just chime in, what do you think his motivation level was throughout that call?
Like a 3 or 4, maybe, right?
It was probably a little more than that, but I mean, it didn't even matter. Anything between 1 and 6, 7 is the same to me, right? Like,
Yeah.
if it falls in there, it's the same. To me, 5 is the same as 1. Right? It doesn't start making a difference until you get to 8, 9, 10.
Right. And then maybe perhaps when he gets a little closer, like that's a good follow-up, like I believe, we talk about send the offer and follow up, when he gets closer to that pressure of having to be out of there.
Yeah, but at this point, I'm not even sending him an offer. I'm not spending another minute on it.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, he basically was so low on the motivation scale, like, even in his own mind, he had built in, sort of reasons / excuses for not moving forward. And in his mind, he still felt like he could get to where he wanted to go by waiting longer. Like he had no real super motivation to move even now, right? He has his brother who he can hang out with for a month. He's okay in the house that he's in. He'd like to move, like a good idea, but not like a need. It's a want, right? You can only close, you only do so much on a want, right? It's hard to close a want. You can close needs. And you can, right? And you can close greeds, right?
Yeah.
You can't close wants. Wants have no timeline. They have no urgency. They're just, I'd like to have that if it was possible. Well, yeah, I'd like to, look like Adonis, but okay, it's not happening.
I like that. I'm going to keep that in the back of my head, in the front of my head, because when I'm talking to somebody, it's a need or a greed, but we're not dealing with wants and trying to convince somebody, because like you said before, it's how you get ghosted in the end, right?
Yeah, because even if I would have tried to force something on him, I'm going to send you over and I'll follow up with you right there. What am I doing? I'm committing myself to wasting time and energy. There's no really to go here. I couldn't uncover in our conversation. Now, again, I'm no expert in, I'm still working on different ways to uncover, needs and greeds, but with the conversation and the tone and the motivation or, you know, lack thereof, there was only so much I can do in that conversation. So once I got to that point, it's like, you know, let's part ways. You know, it was a pleasure speaking with you. I'm kind of pissed that I spoke to you as long as I did.
Right. 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 You know, there's a reason why it was actually on Zillow for 167 days. It was on Zillow for 167 days. It's like, he basically showed us the reason.
Exactly, Steve. You know, so, you know, I to be honest with you, I probably stayed on there for the sake of the role play more than I would in real life. You know, like I would have probably been a little bit more like, okay, let's do it. And if I didn't see something, I would have probably, you know, I would have probably been gone, because I couldn't determine an urgency in his situation or in his desire, right? So Raed, that's, you know, let me say something too about the fact that when we get on the phones, we've got to believe that there's someone on the other end who is waiting for our call. Like, we have to create that. Like, if we are coming from a place where, oh yeah, everybody says that, and you know, and you know, nobody wants to sell their house, and you know, nobody's going for these things, you know, this whole, you know, I'm not sure about this whole lease option thing. Never mind that there are people out there that are, you know, doing, you know, $1 million a month on or a year on lease option, you know, stuff, and some people are close to $1 million a month on lease option stuff. You know, never mind those facts, right? In our mind, we're putting out this energy that, oh no, nobody is really, you know, this stuff doesn't work. So I think that what we have to do too is we have to operate in a certain level of positive expectation, right? Like we have to believe that there are people out there. In fact, we know that there are, right? We know that there are, because there are too many people that are out there producing incredible results, doing exactly what it is that we're learning how to do. So when we get on the phone, you know, we got to go like, you know what? I'm getting ready to find that one guy or girl who is getting ready to do this right here now today. And I'm going to do it quickly. And I know that there's people out there like that. Huh?
Can I add to that?
Yes, absolutely.
See, like I told you a couple of days ago, I don't even give lowball offers because, and I have few owners that ask me, what is your best offer? And I say to my head, then I can accept the lowball offer. I won't even give it.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no. You have nothing to lose. When you called that person, you had no idea who they were. When you get off the phone, they're not going to have any idea who you are. It doesn't make a difference, right? Just throw it out there. Like I said, like Naomi, you know, she pointed out the fact that I always have the calculator handy, right? Like I'll immediately go 70%. I really want to get as far below that 70% as I possibly can, because everything below 70% is more money in my pocket. So I'm gonna just throw out the 70% or someplace in that range. Your 70%, by the way, in your deal was 122, right? I went to 115, right? I knew I could get 7,000. I knew somebody give me $7,000 for 30% of that equity, at least 5,000. So I built in what I knew exactly what I wanted to earn on this deal. If you can't meet me where I want to go, I'm not adjusting my earnings to make the deal work. It is what it is. I know what the numbers are. In my mind, they're fixed. At least my ceiling is fixed, right? My floor is flexible. I'll go as low as you need me to go, but I won't go above my. Right?
Yeah.
I won't go up. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Naomi. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was laughing. You said I'll go as low as I want to go.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. But I'm not going above my ceiling. Like, and I'm trying to. I realize that 70% is what the investor wants, and a lot of the investors they're lowering it now because of COVID. So I'm getting most of my investors asking 65% LTV based on after repair value. So I'm even having to go a little bit lower in terms of those. So I know what that number is. It doesn't make a difference if I try to, you know, be smooth and say, oh, if I put this in a document, can I, you know, and send it over, can we have a deal today? Well, we might have a deal today, but I don't have a deal for tomorrow. I don't have a deal to sell my investor, right? every investor out there has basically the same criteria. I need to be at 70% or better in order to make this deal work for myself. You know, despite, you know, even if the repairs are small, their percentage is still right at 70. I might have to put in 5,000, 10,000 in Raed's deal, right? I'm still at 70. Right? If I have to put in more than that, you know, I have to now deduct my fee plus those costs to do the property. So I could not really go effectively more than, because I knew I had 122 and then he gave me 5 or 10 in repairs, right? So I was actually right at my edge at 115. If he couldn't do 115, I can't sell it. If I can't sell it, I can't make money.
And you make money when you buy, not when you sell, right?
Yep.
Exactly. So there was no place to go. So between his motivation and his expectation in terms of profit numbers, what he needed to get to the other side of his dream, his goal to have a house with a pool for his grandkids, those numbers just didn't add up. Right? So we're going back again to, you know, let's take a look and see what message we're sending initially to these people, right? Like, let's not overwhelm them with a whole bunch of industry jargon. That's probably where I would start. Like, you know, don't even go there. Is it still for sale? Yeah. You know, are you flexible at all? What do you mean flexible? You know, how about your price? Are you flexible? Are you willing to maybe possibly consider some terms? Well, what kind of terms are you referring to? Well, you see what I'm saying? And you build on it rather than, like, you know, kill everything right up front, because a confused mind doesn't make decisions. It just asks a bunch of stupid questions. Right? Yeah. And you're on the phone now 10 minutes, you've gone nowhere. All right, guys. Thank you, Raed. I really appreciate that, my friend.
Hey, Victor.
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
I'm good, Jimmy. What's up, buddy?
Everything's great.
Yeah.
I have a question. When it comes down to outbound phone calls and incoming, and you got sellers calling you, like, how can you actually utilize a pattern interrupt when you have a seller call you?
Wouldn't do it.
When you a pattern interrupt, like if a seller calls me, I mean, do you feel like you absolutely need a pattern interrupt?
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm actually. I
don't know if you need a pattern interrupt, other than if you want to consider this a pattern interrupt. I like to move into the scarcity situation as quickly as possible.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like I will be like, oh man, you know, you're calling me. I cannot believe the response that we've gotten to this campaign. I appreciate you getting back to me. You know, let me see, you know, if I can fit this into, you know, what's remaining, because wow, I can't even believe how this has just, you know, but you know, that we should be able to do something with your house. Why don't you ask me some questions? I'll ask you some questions, and you know, let's figure it out real quick. If it doesn't work, you know, we'll go our separate ways.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, because I was kind of like, how can I put it? And you know, you made it sound more clear for me. Thanks.
Yeah. Oh, you're welcome, Jimmy. Anybody else have any questions or anything we can answer, or you guys want to just go into another quick role play? Let's get 2 other people, because it seems like I'm kind of dominating today's session, and I don't want to do that. Anybody?
Hey, I'll be the seller.
Yeah, I got a quick question, Victor. If you
Hey,
don't mind.
Mag, how you doing, buddy?
Good.
Good.
On the lease option, can you do that for yourself, or it would be like a commingling?
What do you mean, like buy your own place lease option?
Yeah.
Heck yeah, are you kidding? So many of the people in this game, that's exactly, in fact, I'm working on one right now. Yeah, because you remember that question that they asked? Are you going to be the one moving into the property?
Right.
This time your answer is going to be yes. That's the only difference.
And
That's
at the end, do you purchase the property or do you,
It's up to you. Do you intend on purchasing it?
right, yeah. Okay.
That's up to you. You know, and here I think would be the determining factor. You want to negotiate it, and you want to negotiate the least amount of deposit that you can possibly negotiate on the front end. Well, how much do you need? Well, I need a couple months. Okay, because now you understand that that money's coming straight out of your pocket, rather than coming out of a deposit that you're getting from someone else.
Mm.
So your main priority now is to get that number as low as possible. Normally what I do is, we do 1 month right up front. We normally do first and last, and then, make sure that insurances are in place. How does that sound for you? Right. Okay, great. Yeah. All right. I'd like to just start, taking over right now, and I could immediately start paying your next month's payment. What is that payment? Okay, great. So, I'll do a deposit of that amount, plus, whatever it is that you're looking for on a monthly. Can we do, maybe $250 extra so you can, pocket a little bit of money? I'll do all the maintenance. You don't have to worry about anything to do with the property. And in fact, I'll go ahead and pay for a home warranty for the property. Of course, it'll be in your name, and it'll be, a non-owner type home warranty, but I'll go ahead and pay for that as well. And that way you don't have any worries about, the property, the cost or anything. And here's my, I can give you whatever information you need to qualify me. I'll give you my, my previous landlords or whatever for you to call.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So yeah, you absolutely can do it for yourself. Yeah, or you can negotiate it to the minimum amounts that you can, right? Wait a little while, and then, I've decided I'm gonna take this one over myself. I really like this house. Yeah.
All right.
Make sense?
What would it be an exit strategy for that after you do that and you live there for 2 years?
Talk to him again, see if he can extend it, and then you remarket it and you get another deposit.
Gotcha.
You can win twice on this.
Perfect.
Yeah, that makes sense?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, you can win twice on this because all you're gonna do is remarket it. Give me 1 second, guys. All you're going to do is remarket it at the end, get another deposit, and start all over, renegotiate with the seller. They're probably happy unless they have a situation that comes up where they need to get out of their mortgage for qualifying purposes on something else, maybe, or they're just too indebted. But if you're making their payments on time, everything is going great as far as that's concerned. They're not getting any phone calls about anything. They're good. They're just collecting money every single month, and their credit is looking amazing, right? Unless they need to do something else, you could probably just renew it, right? If you're doing it for yourself, I would suggest that you make sure that the price is fixed for the entire terms. Don't allow the equity move.
Mm.
You understand what I mean by that?
Like the market could change?
Well, there's a couple of ways that you can do a lease option agreement. I don't know if you've seen your lease option agreement, but a lot of times they might want to negotiate a slight increase in price just to allow for appreciation to take place, right? So if you close on it the first 12 months, it's this price. If you close on it, month 13 to 24, it's this price. From 25 to 36, it's this price. Oftentimes, if you look at our contracts, they're worded like that, where you can actually do that for them. And it's actually a part of our closing technique. If in fact they said, what about if the values go up? I don't want to, well, what about that concerns you, Mr. Seller? Well, I don't want to give away all of my equity. Okay, well, what kind of percentage are you anticipating? Okay, well, what if I wrote into the contract that, next year we'll increase the price by X percent, and the year after that we'll increase the price, by X percent. If I put that on an agreement, can we go ahead and get this done today? right? You don't want to do that on yours.
Gotcha.
Yours is fixed. This is the price.
Yeah.
All right, this is the price. We're not making no adjustments. You know, this is what I'm going to pay you for this, right? Of course, you know, if you have to, you have to, right? But also, and with that conversation, going back to that conversation, well, if I am going to be willing to, you know, increase the price as the market goes up, I also need the ability to decrease the price as the market goes down. Can we agree on that, Mr. Seller? That would only make sense, right? Yeah. So if the market went down, we could also build in that same percentage into it. Well, yeah. Okay, well then let's just leave the price fixed, because you know we're in this Corona thing and prices are volatile. You know, let's lock in your price right now and just, you know, we'll go with that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anybody have any input, any response to that? Anything? I knew Ace was going. I knew Ace was going to reach. That's my dude. What's up, buddy?
What's up, guys?
Hey,
just,
all right.
Checking in.
Jump in there.
Yeah, on that one, like you said, perfect. Yeah. Again, it's gonna be up to your decision. If the equity went up, if you bought it at 120, now it's worth 170, keep it and either get a loan on it. I think Claude mentioned that's how he got his house. He locked it in at a price 3 years before, and it appraised, so he kept it. And if you're on the downside, again, either you renegotiate it with the seller. Hey, things went sour, renegotiate it, and if it doesn't, yeah, keep it.
Yeah.
So again, it's basically like you literally going into a casino with the casino money and playing with it.
Yeah.
And you can gain as much as you want, and you can't lose anything.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it's like an option contract. Like your losses are limited. All right, guys.
That's the beauty about the lease options.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for that, Ace. Appreciate you always jumping in, my buddy. Okay. Anybody else? Let's do some more role playing, you guys. Let's work on our game a little bit.
Hey, I'll jump in. This is Dion.
Dion, my man. How you doing, buddy?
I'm well. How are you, Victor?
I'm doing good. We need someone else. We need somebody to play the game with Dion. Any of you ladies want to jump in? Anybody else? My voice just cracked. Sound like a little girl. Come on now. I know somebody.
Be the seller.
Okay. All right, Jimmy. You got Jimmy on the horn. All right, you guys. Do you, Jimmy? You want to set your own criteria as you go?
Yeah. Whatever.
Okay. So Jimmy's gonna do the criteria as he goes. Dion, do you want me to put up the role play chart so you can kind of see, where you're going with it?
Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks.
All right, there you go. So that gives you an idea of what you want to set up, where you want to take it, and everything. And ring, ring. Ring, ring. Jimmy.
Hello.
Hello. How you doing? This is Dion. I was calling about the house you had listed for sale on Zillow. Do you have a minute?
Yes, I actually have a minute. Yes, I'm ready. Go ahead.
All right, great. Again, my name is Dion, and I'm very interested in the house. I just wanted to ask you a couple questions about it, and if you have any questions of me, I'd be glad to answer them. And if during this conversation we don't come to an agreement or a meeting of the mind, we can part ways and still be friends. How does that sound?
That sounds great to me. I never heard nobody tell me that before.
All right, well, that's great. So Jimmy, I wanted to know, how long have you lived in the house or owned the house, and why would you be looking to sell it? It's really a nice home in a nice area.
Actually, I owned this property for at least 16 years. This was an investment property, and the way things are going right now, I just want to start liquidating properties right about now.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. So, if you don't mind me asking, how many properties do you have that you're looking to liquidate?
I'm actually looking to liquidate at least 6, but I want to see how this actually goes first before I actually move forward with the rest of the properties.
All right. All right. Sounds good. Okay. Well, I see you got this home listed for 320,000. So I was curious, how did you come up with that price? And where do you think that falls as far as, that about what it's worth, a little more, a little less?
Well, I appreciate you for asking me. Since I'm actually in the business, I understand the market and etc. So that's how I end up coming up with the price. What do you think about the price that I actually have on the market right now? What you think?
I think I would consider it to be fair, but certainly I would be curious to know if you're flexible at all in the pricing.
Of course, if the numbers make sense, I don't mind. Like I mentioned, I'm looking to liquidate all the properties. If you could give me a good offer, I'd be happy. What's your offer?
Well, what I'd like to know if I were able to put something together that works for you, is that something you'd be looking to commit to today? Would you like to get a deal done today?
Of course, I'm open to sell my property as soon as possible.
All right, great. Okay, well, let's talk about the financial side of it. If I were able to come to you and I had a big bag of cash, how much money would need to be in that bag for you to give me the absolute best deal you could give me?
I don't know. You got to give me an offer. Like if it's up to me, I want full price.
Right. And I certainly appreciate that, you telling me that. But, I just, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, I asked about any flexibility. You mentioned that you might be. So I just wonder what the best price you could potentially give me.
If it's up to me, I'll probably sell it at 310. What you think about that?
Okay. That the best you can do?
Give me a number.
All right. Well, let's talk about. Let me ask you a couple more questions, and maybe we can circle back to that. What's the condition of the property in terms of like the majors? Roof, HVAC, windows, things like that. What's the condition of the property?
I could say that the condition is excellent. I recently did the kitchen, the bathroom, the electric, everything is 100%. Close to a brand new house, if you ask me.
Okay, all right. Well, that's great to know. Now, you had mentioned that these are investment properties for you. So, are they occupied right now? Are they generating income?
This one right here that I have on the market right now, it's vacant, but the other ones are.
Okay. And if you don't mind me asking, how long has it been vacant?
You could say about 3 going on 4 months now.
Oh wow, that's I don't know. Is that man? That's why do you think it's been vacant so long? It seems like that might be somewhat burdensome.
No, it's really no burdens. I had it vacant because I had to do some remodel to the property and etc. That's all it is.
Okay. All right. Great. Sounds good. All right. Well, considering that the place is in tip-top condition, 310 may be a good price. So let me ask you, would you consider leasing it to me at that price for a couple of years and then let me pay you off at the end of that term?
What is that?
I would lease it from you at a price that the price that we agreed upon, and at the end of that term you would get that price when we come up with a monthly payment to make every month.
Who would be actually? Will you be living in the property?
Well, Jimmy, that's a great question, and we are investors, so we would be looking to put one of our tenant buyers in the property.
Oh no, I heard too many bad stories of stuff like that happen to people, and I really don't want to get involved with something like that at the moment.
Well, when you talk about bad stories, what do you mean? Because I mean, you had mentioned that it was an investment property and you're willing to rent it anyway. So, I mean, it really wouldn't be much of it. It would be actually would be better because the folks that we would put in would be looking to buy the house. So what concerns would you have?
Well, I heard
You
that.
guys, let me jump in here real quick. So Dion, right now he's kind of getting you on the spot, and you're kind of going into explainer mode in terms of what it is that he's looking for. So be conscious of that and try to avoid going into the explaining of what it is that you're going to do. And there are ways that you can sort of get to the point, or ask him a question that makes him give you some more information. Like, okay, if I did that, what would that do? Or but try to avoid going into explainer mode, because you're as the conversation's going on, he's starting to sort of get you on the spot a little bit.
Yeah.
And you're moving a little bit towards explainer mode, and you absolutely want to avoid going in that direction. So I just wanted to kind of pull your coattail and let you know that was sort of starting to occur for you. And you and I have talked before, so I know you want to sort of avoid going into that place. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right, so we'll back up a little bit. Okay, Jimmy. So let me know what specifically what are your concerns, and if I can come up with a way to alleviate those concerns.
Let him answer. Let him answer. Don't. What exactly are your concerns? What have you heard? End of story.
All right, there we go.
Yeah, let him tell you.
Well, I heard like a lot of stories about that the tenants end up destroying the place. They end up leaving the place bad and not able to, finalize the complete process, and they leave me with the property at the end of the terms, and I really don't want to go through that headache.
And you know what, Jimmy, I would not want you to go through that headache. So if we were able to put something together that would alleviate the concern about repairs and damages, and also give you an opportunity to actually approve the person that leases the property, would that be something you'd be comfortable with?
Of course, I would.
Okay, well, that's great. We'd be more than willing to do that. So if we could do something like that, can we do something today?
Well, I got to run it by my wife real quick before I can make a decision. Because, I live with my wife, and I got to do everything. I got to run everything through her.
You know what? And I definitely appreciate that. A husband and wife, should be a team and, work together on that. So I appreciate you guys having that kind of model for making decisions. So
let me jump in here. This is a perfect opportunity for you to create some commonality of experience. Absolutely. Yeah. If you're married, then, look, I know exactly where you're coming from, right? Tie in with him to let him know that, I totally get that. I do the same thing. My process kind of looks like this. You know what I'm saying? And walk him through, what it is that you need to expect, and how soon you can expect him to actually do it. Are you, is your wife home? Do you, can we get her on the phone? Is there anything you need me to explain to her? Is there anything that I can do to, help with that process? Look, I get it. I'm married too. I know exactly what that looks like, and I can appreciate, you being there with that. And, the fact that you have a relationship that is, that you guys work together on stuff is amazing. Whatever.
Of course.
You're you're building them up. You're creating some commonality in terms of I've been there. You're not just, oh, I get it, but you're tying in a little bit more relationship. Because now he may even start a little more conversation where you're talking about husband and wife. Now he becomes your friend. No, like, trust, deal. Make sense?
Gotcha.
All right.
Yes.
Of course.
All right, Jimmy. Yeah. So I certainly understand that. As my wife and I, we we put our heads together and communicate about any, big time decisions like that. So I appreciate that. So is your wife available now where maybe we could talk now?
Well, she'll be available at 6 o'clock. She's at work right now.
Okay. All right. So if we're able to put something together that works for you and you have opportunity to speak with her, can we get together at 6 o'clock? I'll send you over an agreement outlining what we talked about, and we can get back together at 6 and see where we're at?
Of course. I don't see nothing wrong with that.
All right, well, that's great, Jimmy. What I'm going to do, I'm going to email you over the agreement. You and your wife take a look at it. I'll call you at 6. Now, at 6 o'clock, will you be able to make an agreement and a commitment at that time and give me an answer?
If my wife's okay with it, I'm fine with that.
All right, sounds good. We definitely need the wife's okay. I get that. All right, so I look forward to speaking with you at 6.
What do you think would be a challenge for her based on what we spoke about?
She probably just want to make sure if the company is legit, if they're going to actually do what they say they're going to actually do. That's all.
Okay, what would it take for, I'm not jumping in on you, Dion, but you want to, okay, because, now he just put the wife in the middle like a giant obstacle for you.
Yeah.
Right? He positioned his wife to be the decision maker and you have no access to her. The classic ghost move right here, right? Like Jimmy is playing you right now. Like he may or may not look at the agreement or whatever because he's already put up the obstacle course, right? Correct. So you now have to start chipping away at some of these blocks. Like, okay, well, what do you think would be a concern of hers? And, exactly, when you guys have the conversation, what part of this do you think she might be challenged by? And is there something that we can do about it right now to alleviate it? You know your wife better than anybody, right, Mr. Jimmy?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so, out of this deal right here, what do you think she would be challenged by?
I speak to you or Dion?
No. So Dion, you can take it from there, my friend.
Okay. All right. So certainly I understand you let's get your wife's input. Is there anything that we've discussed so far, something that might be challenging for her, something that she may have some disagreement with?
Nah. To me, I actually like the idea, and but since even though I'm paying the bills, but it's like she actually has to say so. But what I can actually do is run it by her. She take a look at it, and if she's agree with it, then she do some research on your company, and you guys come out legit. I don't see nothing wrong with it.
Okay. All right. Well, you had mentioned about researching my company. Is there any information you think that either you or she may want that I can send you right now? Or with the other parts?
I appreciate you for asking me, and I'm pretty sure I already know. I think she might ask this question. Have you done this before?
Okay, absolutely. And the answer to that is yes.
Okay. Well, do you have any references or clients that you can actually get in contact with, or do you have any testimonials on your website of people that you actually help?
You know what? Hey, that's a great question, Jimmy, and I appreciate your concern about that. And I'd be more than happy to put you in touch with a couple of my.
Let me jump in here again, Dion. Why is that important to you? What has something happened in the past? There's a reason why you asked that. Can I ask you what that reason is? Right. So again, avoiding explainer mode, and you don't want to give him the opportunity to control this scenario. See, Jimmy is an expert. See, Jimmy is controlling this scenario by false agreements on you, right? He already told you he's an investor. He knows the game. So you have to operate as if he is an investor who knows the game. And right now he's working you. He's already used his wife as an obstacle, and now he's just throwing all this stuff out there at you, and you're trying to comply with his wishes. I'm not complying with your wishes, bro. Why do you need to know that? And if I did that, you know exactly what it is that you would need. And if I did that, are you committed to moving forward? And can we do that tonight? That's the point. I'm not saying you have to do it that way, but at this point right now, you have to understand what he's doing to you.
Okay, and just from my end, I was asking him what he needed. So if I can put it in front of him now, we don't have to talk about it at 6 o'clock. I can just give it to him now.
Yeah, tell him what you're going to give him rather than ask him what he needs. Because he's going to keep needing stuff, right? You know, tell him what you're going to give him. Tell him, look, I'll send over with the agreement. I'm going to send you over a couple of, you know, whatever. And if I do that, you know, do I have your commitment? Can we move forward with this deal? Don't. He's not going to dictate this, and that's really my point about this, right? Is at this point now you want to start taking back control from Jimmy because he's trying to take it.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, sounds good. Okay, so to answer your question, yes, we've done this many times, and you know, if I'm able to give you.
Sorry, Dion. One more thing. This is the reason why I always say you're never a lone ranger. Me and my team, me and my partners, me and my co-conspirators, right? This is the point at which not being a solopreneur works to your benefit. Oh yeah, between us, we've done. And see, you have a between us. You can even, just the people in this group, we've done hundreds of deals.
Right. That's why I said we. Exactly. I mean, you know.
I didn't hear you say, well, you said I, you said I can, but you know, you definitely want to sell him on the fact that, you know, this is a team effort and that you are getting ready to, you know, that there's experience, there's knowledge, and you're going to send him over a couple of things. And when you do we have a deal? You know,
right.
lock him in.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Okay. So my partners and I, we have a lot of experience in this area. And I'll get you a couple of references to send over with the agreement. So if I send all of that over to you when we talk at 6 o'clock, can we put this deal together and move forward?
Yes. I don't mind.
You don't mind. Okay. All right. Sounds good, Jimmy. Well, let's talk. I'll give you a call at 6 o'clock and I'd love to get a deal done with you today.
Sounds great. Hear from you at 6.
Thank you, Jimmy. Talk to you at 6.
Thank you.
All right, you guys, that was good stuff, man. All right, so Dion, how do you feel about that, man? I'm sorry I kept jumping in on you like that, but you and I had talked before, and I kind of wanted to just pull your coattail. You know, when the propensity to try to move into a particular mode, you know, starts to affect you, and you start getting away from it, what your objective is, which is to close this guy and close him quickly.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, first of all, I've got no problem with you jumping in. Of course, I mean, I'm here to learn, to be, you know, constructively criticized and learn and understand. So I'm good with all of that. And I kind of felt myself losing control, but there's a part of my personality that wants to, you know, feel like I'm being of service. So if you ask me for something, I'm gonna try to give it to you. And I kind of got lost in that. So I definitely understand where you were coming from as far as that was concerned. Because when he put out there that he'd be wanting to look for revenue, it seemed like there was just a small hurdle to get over. Then I felt like if I just said, okay, I'll do that, then we could just move ahead. But there was a better way to do that, as far as just telling him, hey, I'll give you this and give you that. Can we move ahead, like you said? So just need to kind of tighten that up and shorten that up to make it more of a statement as to what I'm going to do instead of giving him what he asked for.
Yeah. And be conscious of when the seller, especially when you get on the phone with experienced people, be conscious of when they're trying to take control of the conversation. Because see, Jimmy is an expert. You know, and he was slowly but surely snatching control of the conversation. I don't even know if he knows that he does, but his experience and his knowledge and everything else, and he knows where he wants to sit in the end of all this, and he's gonna make sure he secures his seat.
Absolutely, and I'm really glad that he was on the other end. So that was really helpful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dion, you did a great job.
Yeah, you did.
You did an excellent job. when it came down, whenever you come, like when you come across an investor that say he owned multiple properties, you already know he's experienced. So you don't need to go into teaching, explaining. You just need to ask the right questions so you can see if you can get the deal or not, because he's experienced, so you don't waste your time.
Right. Exactly. Yep. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, that's gold right there. Yeah, it especially with investors, you don't have to explain anything to them. Like we're all investors. We know that if we get a phone call, make the numbers work, homie. Let's get this over with.
That's it. That's true.
Yeah.
They just want to see if it's going to work out for them, and
yeah,
if it's good, I'm happy. I'm gonna get a return on my investment. I'm good. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, a lot of the other bonding and stuff that we do, you know, that's almost reserved, you know, for the inexperienced homeowner who has an emotional attachment to their property and who is, you know, got a objective in mind that kind of stirs their juices, and we want to plug into that like that. When you get an investor on the phone, like most of us, we don't have any attachment to the property. We have attachment to if the numbers work and we get what we want out of it.
Correct.
So it changes. It changes our focus, right?
Yep.
Correct.
And actually, that conversation could really end up being a lot shorter.
Of course.
It absolutely can, because you know, Jimmy at that point, he was telling you, I'm not emotionally attached. What's the numbers?
Yeah.
Yes, I own 6 properties, so it's really no problem.
Yeah, and when he said that, immediately you knew he was experienced. He knew what he was doing. He'd already bought 6. There's no need for you to teach him anything, right?
Correct.
So let me ask you this. So Jimmy, were you playing a game with me when I said something about leasing it and paying it off later? You asked me, what's that?
Did we lose Jimmy?
I did. I just asked you, what is that?
Okay.
That's what investors do. When I speak to investors, we realize, okay, when I can get on the phone, once I hear they got a couple of properties, I said those investments, I would not say, oh, would you lease or this and that? I said, you know, I just come up with a different questions that I know in his terminology. He's an investor. I need to come up with his terminology so he could just understand it quicker. Let's see if we could do a deal today or not. But I was playing with you. I said, what is that? And you just went into explaining to me.
Yeah.
I'm an investor. I know basically everything you said.
Yeah, keep it vague.
What'd you say, Ace?
Just to keep it vague. Yeah, lease option. We rent it for three years and we pay you off.
Yeah.
Well, how does that work? Again, we sign an agreement, pay you 36 months, and we buy it at 36 months.
Yeah, we figure out what you need per month, and you know, in 36 months, we figure out what we're going to pay you, and we basically put it on paper.
Yeah, you're right.
End of story.
All
That's
right.
it.
Sounds good. Well, I appreciate the opportunity, and so when I get on the phone tonight or later on today, when I get a chance to call some folks, I'm gonna use it.
Yeah, man.
Call them right now. Just do one dial. Right now, you're pumped up. Go just dial somebody out of Zillow, and that's the best way that I've learned. Because if you let it simmer, you get all this analysis.
I've got some texts I need to answer back to anyway, so this will work out. So yeah, this will be great. So I appreciate it again, guys, and I'll be listening in as much as I can and as much as my kids will allow me at this point.
Hey, well, we appreciate you being on here, man. Definitely appreciate you always being willing to jump in and stretch yourself and improve your game. And by you so doing, everybody else gets to improve their game. And, you know, to piggyback on what Ace said, whenever I get off the phone, whenever I get off these trainings, I usually go straight to the phone because I'm so fired up. And I know that I can, convert this energy into a possible, deal. So he's absolutely right. When you're in that energy, go ahead and use it to your advantage.
Absolutely. I owe everybody on this Zillow call at least a couple calls to some leads. So I commit to that.
All right. Right on, buddy. Appreciate you.
All right. Thank you.
So put it in the group.
Did he say Zillow?
Yeah. I got it.
Yeah, I got it. Man. It's always good.
I sent some texts out yesterday, so I'm going to be getting back to them today.
Oh, good. Okay.
All right, but I'll still be on. I'm just going to mute myself. I'll still be listening.
All right, Dion. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it.
Hey, Victor, it's Joe.
Hey,
Hey,
Joe.
question
Yeah.
on that role play there. You know, when they were asking about references, you made a point, you know, like I said, you know, especially if we haven't done any deals yet. What's the best way to handle that? I mean, I know you talked about, you know, because we do have you guys and you got our backs, and as long as we're saying our partners, you know, we could follow up with somebody, right?
Yeah, you can just follow up. You know, if you need something from us, if you need to, you know, you always have my permission. You know, look, you know, I work with Joe. If you need me to do something, you need to do a deal, you need me to write up something or whatever, you know, or dictate something that you can put on there with my name on it, you know. And I'm sure most of the guys on here, I know we do it all for each other, right? Like that should not.
Well, no, that's a big obstacle. I mean, that's a big thing, you know, because you do get that sometimes. So that's good.
Yeah. Let's use each other for those things. You know, that doesn't have to be an obstacle. I don't care if it's your first deal. You know, you work with a team. You work with a team who's done thousands.
Yeah.
That's not a lie, right? You work with a team.
No,
that's
right. No, absolutely.
And Victor, just to let you guys know that I was on a phone call with a seller last week, and he asked me for references. I was like, wow. I'm surprised that he even asked me for a reference.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So these sellers do ask for references. That's why I actually said it.
Yeah, they do. And Jimmy, you know, you can, you know, if you need something, you know, written up, or you can write up yourself, you have my absolute permission to just, you know, put my name on it. You know, I trust that you're not going to, well, you're going to use it to your benefit. So I know it's going to be glowing. So I don't have to worry about that. But, you know, feel free to, you know, and if they need to get in touch with me, you know, they can always reach out. You know, I got enough stuff out there where they can find out who I am.
Correct. Okay. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Absolutely. All right, you guys, looks like we got about 10 minutes. You guys, if you guys want to do another quick one, we can just kind of, you know, sort of run through it. Or if you guys have some questions or some scenarios that you know, the people on the call who have some experience with some stuff can share how they solve their problems or whatever. I know that texting has been sort of, you know, look, I'm not getting the kind of responses that I want on my texts. So, you know, if you guys have anything in that area, you know, let's chat about it.
I got one question real quick.
Sure, John.
I don't want to take up too much time trying to do another role play, so I'll just kind of jump into this. How do you handle, like, one of the biggest things that I have as far as trying to do the lease options? Because I mean, I'm trying to find just kind of one thing and stick with it between the lease options and the wholesaling, obviously. So,
and also, I don't mean to jump in, but if you're doing lease options and wholesaling, you also want to start getting boned up on seller financing, because they're kind of like one package.
Right. Well, I follow Grant Camp. I've actually one of his like beginner things, and then Eddie Speed. I listen to a lot of his stuff. So I mean, I got an idea of kind of what they're talking about.
Right.
But my main thing is, like, a lot of times I get as a response, we can't do that because and I know it happened earlier in the role play, but we can't do that because we're trying to buy our next house. So what's kind of the best way to tee up like a lease option for somebody that's looking to move into their next house, like, as far as that goes? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
To tee up the offer for them.
I don't know if there's anywhere to go with because understand that ultimately what we're doing is we're solving problems. If you can't create a solution for that person, I mean, where are you really going to go, and how do you expect them to ultimately close with you if you haven't solved the problem? They might take it and put it in their pocket, sort of like, you know, okay, well, you know, this is something for me to think of, and then they'll ghost you until it makes sense for them or something. But truly, we're in the problem-solving business more than we're in the real estate business, right?
Right.
Yeah. So if you can't solve their problem, you know, I mean, do you really have a deal?
Well, I guess not necessarily.
Right. Yeah.
I've had people that have considered like the lease option. And we've talked about, like, I guess some vague numbers, but it's like, they're like, well, you know, I'm trying to move, and I would need, I guess my main problem is trying to explain how the transition would work. Like, you know, you would lease it out and you would take your deposit and put it down on your next house, and, you know, that type of stuff, I guess, is more, I mean, they seem interested in it, but like you're saying, I mean, I guess if it doesn't work out, then the deal's not there.
If it doesn't solve a problem, right? Like if their problem is they need $40,000, you don't have $40,000 in the deal.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
Yeah. If you don't have,
Yeah, that's what I was actually saying as well. Well, how much money do you need to actually move out? If the money is something that you can actually, bring up as far as from your tenant buys, then see if you can actually move forward.
Yeah.
Hello?
Cool.
No, I think
Hello?
Randall, I think your mute went off. No, we're here, Jimmy.
Okay. Yes, if if you're able to come up with the money, then I think you'll be able to help the sellout just from the tenant buyer.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, because if you can't solve his problem, and if you created looked at a number of different workarounds for what it is that you can accomplish with them. Look, if they need 30,000 to move to their next house, they just need 30,000 to move to their next house. There's nothing that you can do that's going to be so clever and creative that is going to replace $30,000 necessary down payment.
Right. I got
Right.
you.
You know what I'm saying? So, step off. It's like, don't waste no time trying to, fit a square peg into a round hole. You've already determined that the hole is round. Step off and on to the next one, or whatever. Determine whether or not there's some possibility for some follow-up. Gauge the motivation level in terms of how long have they been in this, and because sometimes you'll get a sense. You've been around long enough. You're a dad, all that. When people are being delusional.
Right.
Right. Like you get it. Like we're all like that, right? We might be in a conversation and it's just delusion that we think that this is going to happen. It's not going to happen. They kind of know it's not going to happen, but they want to play this game with you, right? Again, you're gonna stay in control of that situation. Don't chase rainbows when it comes to these deals. You're basically there to identify motivation, qualify, and close.
Gotcha.
Right. Other than that, it's just a waste of damn time. You might like having conversations just because you want to improve your game and see how much stuff people can throw at you. Because I've done that. I've stayed on the phone with somebody because I enjoyed the conversation and I was learning some stuff and I was seeing what kind of stuff they're going to throw about it. But I'm sitting in the bullshit meter. Like I know it's bullshit, right? But I'm learning some stuff.
I had a quick question. Maybe you guys already addressed it. I joined the call a bit late, but what happens if you negotiate a price and you match the two, right? The seller and tenant buyer, and God forbid there's a downfall. Now the price obviously needs to get adjusted. So what do you do as far as a contingency to, avoid any potential lawsuit of the tenant buyer coming back saying, hey, look, the price is no longer what we agreed to. The house value dropped $20,000, $50,000.
Well, they have an option at that point. You go back to your seller and you point that out. You show him the information that makes it clear that value has dropped, either with comps or either with comps or with whatever, and you show him that, look, the price has dropped. The only thing that can happen is, okay, well, we are in an impasse. Either the tenant has to move or he needs to extend the lease to allow for values to possibly go back up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Renegotiate. Yeah. Or extend the lease for extra 2 years until the values go back up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. In the meantime, he's still getting his same income. He's still getting his same monthly payment. He's still basically in the same position. He's not worried about fantasy money that was never real anyway in terms of equity. Equity is only good when you pull it out, right?
Yeah. It makes sense. I mean, certainly the tenant buyer wouldn't be able to qualify for the loan otherwise. I guess maybe up front too, in part of the agreement, you'd say something to the extent, for an addition, an extension if the home value is less than what we agreed, to continue extending this and going the course.
Absolutely. Yeah. When there's a point in the contract that I use where you actually, determine whether or not you're going to take out the adjustments over the time period that you have it contracted for. But if it's 3 years, it might be one price year one, another price year 2 and a different price year 3, because many times experienced investors will be, you know, or people who in this game, or just somebody who's financially savvy might say, look, you know, if that value goes up, I don't want to just give it away.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay, well, Mr. Seller, so that kind of works 2 ways. You do understand that, right? Because if you want to gain on the equity increase, are you also open to possibly, you know, having to make an adjustment if the value does decrease?
Yeah, good call out.
Yeah. You know, so that conversation, like you're right, that's an upfront conversation you may want to have with them if that comes up.
Yeah.
You know, because that pendulum swings both ways.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, don't let it just swing one way on you where he thinks, oh, I'm gonna profit, but my floor is fixed. No, your floor's not fixed anymore because you brought it up. Yeah, you just moved the floor. All right. So did that answer your question?
Yeah, sure did. Appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem, Randall. Thank you. Hey, you guys, looks like we're right at the 11 o'clock hour, man. Once again, the most amazing group of people ever in the world. You guys are so awesome. Thank you so much for all your questions. Thank you so much for all your feedback, for everybody who role play. Thank you so much for that. Jimmy, man, you always appreciate having you on, man. Your value is amazing every time you show up. So, I love the fact that you tune in every week with us. Naomi, thank you so much, dear. You always bring the noise. Harold, Michael, Goolsby, my dude. Ace, of course, you the man. I always love having you, and you always bringing it with us, man. Raed, thank you so much for the role play, man, and being so transparent and letting us know what your challenges are, man, because the truth is we all have them and we all go through them, and you're willing to share that experience with us. Really appreciate you for that. Jason, Waylon, my man, how you doing, buddy? Aisha, Mia Johnson, I see that cute picture of you. Thank you for joining us today. We appreciate you. Mag, you always bring it, buddy. You always have great questions. We appreciate you. Randall, thanks for the feedback. Harold Humphrey, you the man, baby. Appreciate having you on. All you guys, man, commit to jumping in on some of these role plays, man. Wait a minute, hold on one here. You guys are in a safe space right now. This is the best place for you to be able to get over some of the obstacles that may have challenged you in the past. So, participate. I know a lot of you guys are listening, you're taking notes, but it's not the same. It's kind of like when you know all this information and you get on the phone with the seller and you like, the best way to overcome that is to get on these role plays, get your confidence up to where you're like, I know the answer to that. I've heard that before. And then it just all starts to become a little bit easier. You start to strategize a little bit, okay? So once again, thank you guys. We're going to go ahead and log off. It's been amazing. We'll see you guys again next week. Take care.
Thanks.
Thank you, Victor. It's awesome. All right.
Thank you, Diddy. All right. Bye-bye, you guys.
Prosperous week, y'all. Thanks.